This group will have it.
You have to vote for 6. You guys can just mark them. Or your eyes that are behind. They really didn't know.
Yeah.
So, the one that's the problem with I know. This one. I would definitely. She's been a president for a long time. The only one.
This Cheryl is,
Okay, the only one that didn't do, she's been president, done a nice job. That's all.
Basically, these not ones.
yeah,
there was no Bible.
She doesn't know about her.
I wonder if it was on a different paper than what?
Yeah.
Tom, yeah, perfect. Yeah, we're waiting on Tara and. The vote. I didn't say it's not. So what? We were supposed to, had it done. Tara. Oh, he's here. You do me a favor and vote for your, 6. Thank you.
I don't want to do it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, there's,
I will cherish this.
And you should frame it above your best.
Melissa was nice lady at the gallery. I didn't know that that was happening. It's, so every year they do a jury show, so faculty and you can submit.
Can you sign in with the voting box?
Yeah, the faculty picks what they want in this show. Yeah, and I was like, wow.
Together.
I saw her. So it's going on. She said she got like an honorable mention.
I'm sorry.
As a freshman.
Take care.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's amazing, but all of it, yeah, very impressive. I wish I had. I'm sure she'll be in the. But it will be.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, we're planning on 3 to 2.
Oh, no, I can feel that part.
And 1.
This is fine.
Yeah, no, yeah, that part. Thank you.
Here. Is in the paper and send it for visitors that want to talk.
United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, motion to approve the minutes of the March 17th, 2025 Board of Education meeting. Motion by Clara. Second. Second by Melissa. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to accept the CSC, CPSC, and 504 report. Motion by Tara. Second by Sarah. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Are there any agenda changes?
The amount was added to the budget.
That's on my, on this, under Congress. So the only change is on item A, the number, the amount is written on there. From the amount of budget on item A, if you have a new
They don't,
agenda.
They don't.
so it's
Okay, so that was just added on there. Okay, I'll say it wasn't. We have financials, we have the general fund expenditure, the school lunch fund expenditure, the lunch report, and our extracurricular fund for February, that you received in your packets this month to review. Do you have any questions? Stephanie, do you have anything to point out to us?
Well, I actually, all the extracurricular that's been going on, fundraising and such, for various things, are you getting all of your paperwork in a timely way? I know the auditor brought that up, that there's a couple.
That's happening.
Oh,
I don't do that for work.
okay.
But yes, I believe it is.
You're not seeing anything.
Not on my end.
And on that, there's the fundraising will be multiplied this year.
Yeah.
A lot of
Very
fundraising.
a lot of money in that.
You know, what did, can you attribute that to something so that?
I think there's been some new ideas that have been created, maybe some old ideas that have been revived,
I think a lot of drivers, which
so. Yeah,
Jamboree.
Jamboree kind of that certainly made.
You get to look at the reasons why some of those
Okay.
things. Okay, any other discussion? So now we have visitor comments. So I have Roxy.
So I just want to touch base again on the sports merger. I'm still not in favor at all of the sports merger. I felt like in the past I could just tolerate the situation because it felt like all the kids were kind of going through the same thing. Now I do not feel that way. I feel that modified is going to suffer. This was our first week at Brandon Field. Yesterday there were issues. Today there were issues. I went to Brandon Field yesterday. Just curious, like, what's the emergency building that the girls are going to be using in case there is an emergency while they're there? I know that it was stated that it's handicap accessible, which it is to the field. There is no handicap accessible bathroom there. There is no place for the girls to change, should they need to change. I just wonder if we've really looked at that field and how it compares to what the other 3 teams are getting. It doesn't seem equal. It doesn't seem fair. And then I also have some questions for the upcoming fall season. I wanted to know if Minerva's field comfortably accommodates 1 soccer team at a time, how will you manage the practice schedule between the 2 modified teams? Because I'm not sure if you've seen, I know some of your parents have seen, that 1 team can be on the field, the other team usually is tucked kind of down in the wood line. If we are going to be using North Lawrence Field for some of our varsity practices with the girls' varsity team, would it be reasonable to think that the modified teams would then alternate here? Or would it make more sense for the boys' varsity to practice there and the 2 modified teams practice here and alternate with the girls' varsity? Like, has it been looked at in that way? And then my other question is has there been in the past, is there a plan to, in the future, do parent surveys on the sports merger? And using Parent Square, perhaps, anonymous surveys put out to the parents of the students in K through 12, pre-K through 12. And is there a survey going out to the students, the athletes, that are participating at the end of each season to see how they felt that the season went. And is that feedback something that could be used in the future to help you decide on putting through the merger each year? If the students and the parents are all saying, it's not working, we don't like it. Would that be something you'd be willing to do? And the safety concerns at Brandon Field and at Minerva's Field for soccer and for baseball, softball, when can we expect those things to be done, the things to be addressed? Practice yesterday at Brandon Field, their field's not ready for the kids to be on it. There's some pretty significant gopher holes in the grass that the kids were tripping in. Is not what we have here, certainly. So I just kind of wanted to know what your guys' plans are, what your thoughts are. And I really, as a parent, I need you to come up with an emergency plan for those kids, those 20 kids that are on that field with no bus, no building to go into. What happens to them in an emergency? Thank you.
Right, thank you, Roxy. We will look into a couple of these things. Thank you. Frank Morris.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. So I made notes. So while we're on the sports merger, I've been part of that since its creation. I had high hopes for it in the beginning. I don't now. I think we're kind of kicking a dead horse here. Something that has come up is the North Warren merger with sports, and I think if we're going to head down that road, I think we should look into maybe merging the whole district. I mean, we put a lot of effort into merging with Minerva, the whole districts together in sports, the whole 9 yards. I think if we really want to benefit the students, I think in parents and taxpayers, I think merging with North Warren would be a pretty unique and interesting way to go. As a graduate from there, it offered a lot, and I think we could offer more down that road. It's funny that we wound up merging our varsity girls soccer with Minerva, even after that one board meeting. Kind of went south. In my position, as you know, I'm leaving. Once again, I do want to say thank you for the opportunity to work here again. Mike, I've said this to you and I've said this to everyone, working with you, it's been good. You've been real good to me. You made great efforts to make my personal stay, my tenure here has been good with you. But on the same token, we definitely disagree on some things, but I kind of wish everyone kind of felt that way. So I think if they felt the way I do, I think we have a lot less chaos amongst us here. And there's a lot of chaos. And I don't know if we're all on the same page with our beliefs or not, but I see a lot of it from all the way around, from the building to the transportation, all the way around. There's a lot of chaos. And in my letter, if you get to read it, I kind of briefly touched on it. And it is very hard to walk away. I want you to know it's not an easy decision. It's very difficult for me not to take them bus runs, believe it or not. It was a financial hit not to take them, but it's what I had to do for me, and to try to let you guys know, this is going to lead into my next subject. We have 3 full-time bus drivers. We have Rick, Jerry, and Terry. That's their job, to drive school bus. The rest of our bus runs are filled with full-time employees, whether it's me subbing, Freddie subbing, or Amanda subbing. And then we have Tom, Brandon, and Sean. And they're full-time employees here, which we task them with other job duties once their morning and afternoon run are done. I don't think the way the bus drivers are being paid is fair to them. I don't think they should be paid anything less than 2 hours. No? Okay. I'm really tired of the phrase, we own you. We're not slaves. We're not slaves. We're not owned. We might be under contract. That's different. So 2 hours, think about it, sit down, crunch the numbers. 2 hours at the high end is going to be $60 on the high end. Just kind of keep that in mind, please. Another thing, and even in my department, you know, Frank, what's the big deal about transportation? Well, in my department, 2 of those bus drivers that are being taken often to fill in for these roles throughout the day to do these bus runs are actually my team. They work for me. That means less stuff is being done for me here at the building, which sometimes means more for me or more for her or more for Marlene to do. We still got a building to clean. We do the best we can, and I think we do a darn good job. I could be more proud of my team. But it definitely makes a strain on it. And again, I don't agree with the way they're being paid. I don't. A lot of responsibility there. We have more people running red lights on our buses than I can ever remember. And it's nerve-shattering. And we have structure issues with behavior. I almost wrecked a school bus last year, and it really shook me. And I've spoke with Mike about this because of bad behavior on a bus. Now we want to combine and all these bus runs and stuff, and it's really hard. It's really hard for me to accept that. We have less kids with the same amount of miles, and in some cases, we're adding miles to bus runs. You know, we can't help the homeless situation. It is what it is, and I understand we have responsibilities to get them, and we do get them, and I understand that. But we add to a bus run. But we own you for 2 hours, is what I hear. No, I disagree with that strongly. Moving on. Sharing my staff in general, like since I've started here, and I know it's the way it's always been, we share, Marlene and Jess alternate, doing simple dishes. Even when I am short-staffed, like the other day, I had nobody here, okay? Jess comes in at 10 o'clock, Marlene a paid day off, Tom a paid day off. I have just one person here besides me, and I have other responsibilities here, trying to keep those fields, which everyone seems to be pretty impressed with now that they're completed. I know there was a lot of hubbub before this, before me getting these completed, before Sean and I and Paul Sears and everyone that put great effort into those fields. I know there was some hubbub, but they're done and they look darn good. I need to be out there with my guy doing that and ensuring that. I don't need to be in here. Karen and I have came up with many ideas on how to solve that particular situation, but it would require a little spending of money, and money seems to be awfully tight these days. But I do believe we could find it and we can make it work. We make a lot of things work. If I've noticed anything about this school district, I do know that we make things work. So we need to work. And you know, another thing this contract failed on, I voted no for the contract. I'm gonna throw this right out there, right out the window. This contract's very vague. It's very vague and it's not very good. Both sides, swing and a miss, both sides. CSEA, administration, swing and a miss. Marlene Moore has been here for 12 years and she's just a couple steps ahead of minimum wage. We don't address that as people come in. And this isn't a problem just at our district, so I'm not kind of a dummy. I know it's, but let's think outside the box. We have an employee who's been here 12 years, and she does a darn good job. And she's come such a long ways, and she's very dependable. And she does the way she can, and definitely goes out of the way and does a good job. But it's just a couple steps ahead of minimum wage. And I've got to think some of our TAs might even be in the same boat, or maybe some of our secretaries. I just think that's wrong. I think we should be looking at how, let's make that work too. Let's make a little bit of an adjustment there for those people. Get a little ahead of minimum wage. Let's give them something to look forward to. Value them like you valued me in my position. I feel value. You guys pay me very well. I'm not leaving because of my salary. I'm very happy with my salary. Thank you, Tom. I'm back because of you. But I have to leave for me and my sanity. Another thing. I don't know how you look at it. We got 3 employees whose pay had been messed up. Stephanie, this isn't you, but prior Stephanie. It got messed up. Now, the hard part with this is for a few years, we've been complaining about that. And me as a supervisor have gone many times to whether it be Mary or whomever might be in that position and asked about it. I said, this don't look right. This don't seem right. Don't look right, don't seem right. Well, finally, the last time I took Sean's pay stub and I went and talked with Kathy Spring, great lady. And she goes, I see, it don't look right. Well, we're gonna sit down with Mike and we're gonna look at this. Well, I say, thank you, I appreciate that. Then they dive into and it's all good, it's all legit. I mean, it's all out there on DOL, believe me, I've done some research. And it's a blended overtime rate. You know, that's how it's You know, it's kind of how it's done out there. It's an answer to that whole two-pay differential thing that exists in the world everywhere. And the hard part to swallow is when they looked back. They looked back and the district owed two of them a pretty good chunk of change. And one of our employees owed the school a pretty good chunk of change. And I sit there and I'm like, golly, that is not a really good way to treat your employees. Now, I fully understand as a municipality, you can't just wave that off. I get that. I understand. It's a municipality. It's not your money. It's our money. Okay? I know you just can't be like, yeah, I got to ignore that. I get that. All right, I just want to get that clear. But then when they do the math the second time, so the math the first time was wrong. They did the math. Now that appeared to be wrong. So now the third time the math was done, it appears that two of those employees owe less, substantially less in one case. And one of those, the third employee owes the district a little less. The other two are owed less as well. So now that's three different math figures to my calculation. How can we trust the third one? We're working on that. Just throwing that out there. That's being worked on. It's pretty messed up. And it's hard to keep confidence when things are messed up. I mean, when you mess with someone's paycheck, right or wrong, whether it's for their benefit or not, boy, that's a tough one for any employee to get over. And as a supervisor, seeing it done to part of my team members, that's really hard for me to swallow and say, that's the way it is, guys. That's really hard. Really hard. I don't know what we can do for them. I don't know. But I think we should try. You know, I don't know what we can do. I think we should try. We should try. We should fight for these guys. It shouldn't always be CSEA fighting for our employees, because it's kind of what it feels like. And I know that's what they're there for, but everything's a battle. You know, and there's hostilities on both sides. I'm not going to say one side's better than the other. I live it. I see it. I work it. But I agree, and I support this side. From the merger all the way down through to transportation, something that I was really engraved in. I made, Mike, what'd I say, $10,000, $11,000 more in overtime last year driving school bus for you guys. And if you look at it, most of that is definitely driving school bus. One thing I said when I came back, one of the conditions I had, and Tom, I hope you remember this, and Mike, I know we've spoke about this. I don't want to drive school bus all the time for you guys. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to sub and do my part and be helpful. And I did that. And I did that well above and beyond. But it always seemed like there was a bus run to do. And you can't say, oh, that's the bus driver's fault. Because it's not just the bus driver's fault. You've only got 3. And you know what? And that's the way it was when I got here. Actually, no, I think there's a couple more when I got here. But nonetheless, we've got 3. The rest are full-time employees who fall on overtime after 3 o'clock. Overtime. So we'll pay those bus drivers, those full-time employees, overtime to do a sports run, to do a late run, or anything like that. During the day, we pay them a different rate. It's a blended rate. It's kind of messy. Very, very messy. Very messy. Tom, thank you. You even after, and I'll apologize for my behavior at the last time I spoke here. That was very unprofessional. It was very unprofessional, and I apologize. But Tom heard me through my anger. He heard us through our anger. Tom came over and actually rode. He got up in the morning. He came in and rode one of the routes with us. And I just couldn't appreciate that more. Like, I know you guys don't have to. You guys can, you know your job better than I know your job. That man came and did that. He's the only one of you guys that did. Thank you. Thank you. Now you can see what we're talking about. If you want to know what we're talking about, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hop over. Again, I'll go back to it. There shouldn't be a bus run a minimum of 2 hours. It's not a lot of money, guys. We can make this work. I know we can make this work. I have faith in you. Minimum 2 hours for a bus run. Done. Two of our 3 bus drivers are retirement age. Please don't take offense to that. But sports runs get a little difficult in the wintertime when it's dark out and it's cold. It gets difficult for them. I've seen them both do them, and I know it's difficult on them, just in general. But I also know these guys are reliable as sin for your late runs. Those late runs pay 2 hours. You can clockwork with these guys right here. These guys right here. Right there. 2 hours, you pay them. And I can tell you, throughout the day, if there was a bus run with a minimum of 2 hours, these guys are going to help out more with that, which is going to alleviate. It's going to alleviate the pressure that I feel in my department, that the new guy is going to feel in my department when we find the replacement, whomever it might be for me. But think about that for a minute. This stuff has been building for years. We got to look for bus drivers, guys. Bus drivers, not bus driver custodian, not bus driver mechanic, not bus driver groundskeeper. We need bus drivers, and we gotta dangle a carrot in front of them. We gotta make it worthwhile. I've noticed when we do workarounds, they tend to stay permanent. I think the custodial cleaning staff being in the kitchen has started out as a workaround. And combining Route 5 started as a workaround. Now you guys took Route 5 away, and what you did was you took that workaround away. You took it away. You took a driver out of the picture, a potential driver. I know it's not easy to get them. Been through those meetings too. You took it away. You took that workaround away. So, hey, instead of doing Route 5 today, Mrs. Bus Driver, could you please do a sports run or this 250 bus run over to Minerva? Could you please do that? We don't have that anymore. We took that away. We said, no, thank you. We had 4 bus drivers. Now we're not hiring another bus driver. With that being said, we're not hiring another bus driver. It sounds like there's money left on the table. To me, it sounds like you could easily pay a minimum of 2 hours for a bus run. But, you know, I've only got a high school diploma. The pay gap between custodians. My daytime custodian started off as cleaner, took her test, Mr. McWick made a good deal with her. A temporary deal, nonetheless, but nonetheless, she is a custodian. The pay difference between her and a newly hired night custodian is a couple steps, and I don't agree with that. But we'll work on that. I noticed the pride that the district and the small group of people that I hear often referred to, the pride in our district is kind of dying. I see it in the public. I get around. You know, the pride in Johnsburg Central School is slowly going. It's slowly going from a merger that has truly failed, guys. I've been here since the beginning. Right out of the gate, we were promised a lot of things from Minerva that we're not getting. That 250 Minerva bus run became ours when they couldn't alternate it. It just became ours, and then we just gave them another one instead. We fixed it, sort of. Minerva has a bus driver, one bus driver, and if he's not available, then it really causes chaos. That bus driver happens to be a sub for us, too. A great guy. He does well. Minerva don't seem to put the efforts in their fields, nor their transportation. And since I am on the inside, I see the miscommunication, and it affects me and my department greatly, between this athletic departments. Oh my word. I would think after all this time, and we were just talking about this today, and even yesterday, you would think things would be a little smoother than it is. And you look for perfection, because God, there's no such thing. But it is not smooth, guys. It is not smooth. Not smooth at all. I don't know what happened to Larry Ringer. He left. We all know it's suspicious. We know something happened there. And I certainly hope that, I know, a little off topic. It's fine. It's fine. But I'm going to circle back to Brandon, those 3 people who are owed and we owe money. I don't know this. I don't know if that's Larry's fault or what, but that's quite suspicious. So we're going to throw that out there. I know we have regular audits. I know that. I know the state comes in and they look at things. And I assume we pass, and if we don't, I assume there's corrective actions taken. But what I don't understand is with all these audits and everything, I don't understand how this could come about, this mispayment, if you will, to these people. I don't understand how that could happen with these audits. It's, again, you go on DOL, you talk about, you ask the internet about blended pay rates. It's a thing. It's a problem across the world. I don't know how we missed it. I don't know how CSE missed it. I don't know how administration missed it. I don't know how the business office missed it. But it got missed, and it's financially hurting the district as well as an employee, you know. It's just a little embarrassing. I'm almost out, but I just want to swing back. I'm very proud of my department. I'm very proud of my team, and it's been an honor working with them, having them work with me. I hope they can hang on, and I hope they can stick in there. And I hope some changes can be made after I leave, or even while I'm here. I hope you guys can get along and we can fix the issues over at the bus garages. They're pretty straightforward. I also know that we need a little stronger leadership over there at the bus garage. I understand that. We'll leave it at that. That's needed. I don't know what we can do about that, but we do need to fix that. I just want to swing real quick to the late run last night, the debacle with Minerva and a bus coming back from Minerva. I happened to be here for that. It's one of the rare times I pick up my daughters from a practice. Now, something didn't sit with me well earlier today. For years, it's been practice. The late bus leaves here at 4:45. And you say, well, you know, there's a bus coming. Why would you not sit there and wait for that bus? What if that bus broke down? What if that bus hit a deer? What if any of the above? Well, we know we can't communicate with Minerva school buses. We still can't communicate with them. So we can't receive a call from their buses. And it's something we've asked Minerva. Mr. Mark Wake has certainly asked Minerva to address. Been there with him, seen him type emails, whatever. He's asked them to address that. It's been asked to be addressed. It's not been addressed. Hasn't. So that bus wasn't able to radio and let us know that they're late and here's why. Also, the timing of that whole thing, come to find out, was approved by our head of transportation. What timing don't work, obviously, it didn't work, right? That timing didn't work. So my question is we're always told that bus leaves at 4:45. And we've made arrangements with cross country and other events that them buses leave at 4:45, much like the 250 bus leaves at 2:50. You leave, you get on that bus, it's 4:45, you go. Sometimes we hang out and wait a little bit, sometimes we don't. Had there been ASP students or anyone here, the buses would have left at 4:45. It was almost 5 o'clock. That Minerva bus wasn't here yet. Those guys had left just a couple minutes before that, but they didn't leave. They just went over there. They came back and they took those kids home. So my question is, how long do we wait? If we're taught you leave at this time, and furthermore, what are those 3 buses going to do if that bus hits a deer, if that bus gets a flat tire, or any of the above? If they're simply running late, that's one thing. But if there is an emergency, what are those 3 buses going to do? They still got a job to do to get their kids home. They're not going to go pick those kids up if there's an emergency. There's a whole protocol for that. The bus is running late. We need better communication, like better communication between buses, better communication between athletic directors. We need better communication. We don't have it. In all these years of doing this, it has not gotten better. And at times, I think it's worse. I've lived it. I'm here, ground zero. This merger is not working. In the fields, go look at those fields out there. They're not perfect, but they're darn good fields. He sees to it that I get the money. He's done it before my time. Make sure that we get them seeded and fertilized the whole 9 yards. He makes sure that I've got money for clay out there. He sticks up for me when there's coaches out there beating their war drums because them fields aren't ready before April break. Well, I need that time. I need April break to make them and maintain them and make them better every year. But we let a coach go on the warpath, run me down, run him down, run this district down, but we accept him as a coach. I find that unacceptable. And I have always found it unacceptable that we don't hold Minerva to a higher standard than they are. And if they can't achieve that standard, then let's go North Warren. Let's go North Warren. Maybe then we can get the communication that we need. We can get the better fields that our children deserve. I thought it might be a good idea for the modified to practice over there all the time. I was on board with that in the beginning. I can't lie to you. It's not in me. But then the more I thought about it, the more I remembered Brandon Field. I lived up there for a while. I know Brandon Field well. And you're right. There is a church. Great. Cool. Let's unlock that door. We have a satellite phone that sticks to a student, not a team. So if that student's not there, does that satellite phone go with the team to Brennan Field? If not, let's get another one. Bathrooms, that's a softball field for ladies. Porta potties aren't great. Let's unlock that church that's got a bathroom. Furthermore, let's just end the merger and just do everything here. Because we did it before, and we did a darn good job. When I first started here, we did it all here. It was tight, it was tough, but we did it. And there was more pride. There was more pride in these students that I saw, and more pride in my team and myself when we just did it here. Our fields aren't perfect. It's still a bear to get up on top for the softball field, but I ain't against letting some old folk drive up on that hill to let their grandma out to watch a softball game. I certainly don't mind it at all. I just think we never should be held to a higher standard. They're not. They failed miserably. Let's get out of it. Find a bigger, better school if that's what we need. I know I'm probably well past my 3 minutes, and I thank you for not counting down. I was really worried you would, and I'm really proud you did not, and thank you for your time. I'm sure I missed some stuff, but thank you again. Have a good evening.
We're moving on to the items for discussion and/or action. Motion to accept the 2025-2026 district school budget of $13,219,898. Motion by Tara, second by Sarah. Any discussion?
I just want to say this was the presentation that we did at the last board meeting,
When's the public?
May 12th, the public presentation. The book, the,
16th and the local is 20.
okay, 16th is the presentation, 20th.
Can you repeat that? This is May
$13,219,898.
May 12th. It says May 12th. It's May 12th.
Then it is 20.
Correct.
Sorry.
May 12th. And then this, vote is on the 20th. All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to accept the 2025-2026 property tax report cards. Motion by Tara. Second by Sarah. Any discussion?
Again, this just outlines the budget, the tax report card.
And you did have it in your packet. All these things we have in our packets. All in favor? Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to accept the 2023-2024 audit corrective action plan. Motion by Chris, second by Tara. Any discussion?
This one and the next one, Stephanie sat with the auditor and looked at the different issues that were brought up in the audit that you presented, was it 2 meetings ago? Or maybe it was the last meeting also. And then she did the corrective action plan to turn it into the state.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to accept the 2023-2024 extracurricular audit corrective action plan. Motion by Tara, second by Erwin. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to approve the 2025-2026 BOCES election ballot. And I have Steve Grandin, Lynn King, Naomi Marsh, John Rieger, Thomas Roche, and Peter Thomas. So motion by Tara. Second by Melissa. Any discussion?
Just so everyone understands, what this is BOCES has, I think it's 15 board members, and they have 6 seats open this year. They're 3-year terms, and this is a slate of candidates. So they have 7 people running for 6 seats. All districts hold a meeting tonight for the purpose of this and the budget vote for the administrative part of their budget.
Cindy, do you need this?
I did, you did it, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to approve the 2025-2026 BOCES administrative budget vote. Motion by Tara. Second by Erwin. Any discussion?
Again, Dr. Parker came and presented this at the last board meeting along with what they call Division 27, which is the new BOCES complex that is going together. But the administrative budget went up 1.2%.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to appoint Kathy Kennedy as principal effective July 1st, 2025, as per her individual contracts.
Motion.
Motion by Tom, second by Tara. Any discussion? Welcome, Kathy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to appoint Thomas Baker as nighttime cleaner effective March 14th, 2025 at step 3, $15.60 per hour as per the CSEA contract.
Motion.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Chris. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained?
I will make one comment.
Okay.
I do want to point out that this is backdated to March 14th. So Mr. Baker has been working with us now for a couple of weeks, and he's doing a nice job.
So that carries. Motion to appoint Cindy Homer, Mary Cooper, Cassie Noel as budget vote workers on May 20th, 2025, from 11:30 to 8:30 at their present hourly wage for the budget vote,
Motion.
12 to 8 p.m. Motion by Tom, second by Tara. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to appoint Shannon Ordway as volunteer assistant coach for modified softball for the 2024-2025 school year.
Motion.
Motion by Tom, second by Tara. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to appoint Chris Moran as a volunteer assistant for the tennis team for the 2024-2025 school year.
Motion.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Erwin. Any discussion?
I do have a question. Why are we appointing Chris when the season is over?
Sectionals over. I think he wanted to help out with sectionals coming up. And what happened was, he was going to try, he wanted to help before, but the length between the board meetings and the tennis season being so short, and we had made the decision that no one could be in the dugout, and then it's not dugout, without board approval. So he would have been helping sooner.
Understanding that, I did have a conversation with him prior to the last board meeting, and he already wanted that volunteer position.
Oh, I had not heard that. That's the first that it came to me from the athletic directors.
Okay.
I can certainly ask about that.
Just curious, yeah, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Okay, motion to accept Catherine Ash's letter of resignation effective Monday, May 10th, 2025. Motion by Tara. Second by Chris. Any discussion on that? I guess I want to say, as from the board, thank you for Katie's contribution to our music department for the last several years. We've enjoyed many of her productions, from choruses and Pop Singer, the talent show. Johnsburg will miss her, and we wish her good luck in her next endeavor. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to accept April Millington's letter of resignation effective March 21st, 2025.
Motion.
Motion by Sarah, second by Tara. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. Motion to accept Frank Morehouse's letter of resignation effective June 30th, 2025.
Motion.
Motion
And I
by
think
Tom.
that with, thanks for all the work we did here. And
Gratitude.
keep it up with things.
Second.
Tom, Tara, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained?
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, Mr.
No, that's okay. It just kind of hits you that there's, well, 4, including Tom, which, so there's 3 employee resignations in 1 meeting. What do you attribute that to?
Well, the first one, no, the second one, April, we placed her in Minerva from the beginning in a teaching position, a teaching assistant position opened up there. And I think she enjoys the atmosphere in Minerva. That's where she's been from day one. I think Frank spoke on his behalf tonight. And then I really don't know the other one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries. So acknowledgement to Tom Wardway for his 34 years of service as a board member at Johnsburg Central School. Tom, we're really gonna miss you. You've been here for 34 years.
Thank
I've
you.
been here for a good portion, but we recognize your volunteer service for us, and you've been a huge asset to our board. Your longevity has given us insight on past precedents and on procedures and how to kind of move forward with things. And your thing that most stands out is your unwavering commitment to students and their best interests. And we really thank you for that. I personally have learned a lot from you. Thank you, and you will be missed.
Thank you.
Tom, I would like to also admit that, you've been here for the 21 years that I've sat here. And I've appreciated your guidance and thoughts. So,
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have a discussion of our ex-officio student board member.
So,
Explain to us what that is.
so starting in July of this year, school boards are required to have a student board member. There are certain rules around that, what they can and can't do as far as participation. I think I gave you the handout of that information. But one of the things that the board has to do is they have to decide on the method of how that student is chosen. I gave you the list of the different things. So I didn't know if people wanted to have a discussion tonight. So at the next board meeting, we would be prepared to make that decision.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
The section underneath where you highlighted, it said that students they were required to be a BOCES student.
I think you were reading the BOCES student.
Oh, that was for something
Yeah.
different, okay.
BOCES also are required to have a member.
Would you be able to review some of the choices that we need to make for next week? Next
For next
month? So I think if I remember correctly, we have to decide how we're going to choose or how they will be chosen, whether it's through,
Yeah, we can see if that handout was,
is it not in this packet?
do you, maybe Tara, you
Can
can
you kind of
cover that?
summarize what we need to be thinking about?
The following ways are ways that we can choose one way. Duly elected as student president of the high school is one way we can go. Duly elected by the student body, selected by the high school student government, which would be our
Student government.
student government, student council.
We changed the name of student government.
Selected by the high school principal, selected by the superintendent, selected by majority vote of the school board.
So by next week, or next month, I'm sorry, we need to kind of make a decision on how we want to set that up. I personally think it would be good to be voted on by at least the students, whether it be the full student body or the student council. I think that would be best besides one of us appointing them.
I
That's my
agree.
thoughts.
I agree that not only, the school board, I don't think administration should be making that choice either.
I think we should council.
I think there's some value in the whole body having an election too. I don't know, I think those are some things we need to think about and.
I think one of the things that we do have to, as we go through that process, let students know the commitment. Because it is, as you guys know, it's a commitment to sit on a board.
Rachel, I think it's important to have a vote, but at the same time, 2, 4, 5, and 6 options really, assuming what they're voting for is harmful. It's not a popularity contest. It should be somebody that, it balances having a vote, but so I just think,
So are you talking
like a state government individual can vote who's going to represent them on board. The class on board.
I guess I agree that it should not be a popularity contest, and you do run in that when the whole student body votes on it. I think it would be a very valuable lesson to emphasize the responsibility and characteristics that someone needs, and maybe use that as a teaching moment, a teaching element if they're gonna be electing people throughout their lifetimes. So those are just thoughts. I don't know which one I prefer. I just think we need to be having a discussion, be thinking about it next month or so, and be ready to come with some opinions.
Who is the current advisor for student government?
Shannon,
So maybe would we be able to reach out to her to explain what this is and get her on board with explaining to student body government, what the expectations are, have her kind of feel out who would be interested.
so one of the things that will happen is BOCES is going to run a training for new student board members.
So the one that's elected.
Right.
But that's, I guess we're talking about prior,
Right, I think the kids need to know what they're getting into, and if they want to.
So I'm wondering if that might be kids who are interested, maybe they're invited to sit down with myself and the board president and kind of they'd be able to run through some of the.
Okay, and maybe Ms. Stone,
Yeah, the advisor.
the advisor, yes, okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be a good thought too. We have some thinking to do. Okay. Any other discussion on that? Okay, we have committee reports, building and grounds. We did not meet, okay.
There was one meeting that we met with the teachers and the architect and went over the future classrooms and had some conversations on, I would say, wants, needs, what those classrooms may look like. It's very beginning stages.
This is the science, right? Science.
Yes, yeah. And Frank was there too.
Policy. I know we met and I think we're at the point where we're entering the data that we got into the system so that we can create the policy manual for us.
Yes, Stephanie's actually made the changes and has sent it back to Area 1. So we're waiting on their return. Again, my hope is that we have things to second draft by summer, so then it can be reviewed for second draft. And then at some point next year, we would have it up and running and we would put it online.
School climate. We had talked about the transition of the current website to the new website called Smart Sites, which will be happening by the end of the school year. I know that Cindy and Kathy and Mike have been working with the new people to change that platform over. We also talked about the transition of our current Facebook page, which I manage, being turned over by the end of the school year to Kathy as the new principal, and what that's gonna look like. And we talked about, working with the community, particularly people of Chesky, with the Tidy Up the Town event that's coming up again in May. We're gonna do it much like we did last year. It'll be a 4-5-6 day, where they'll go out in the afternoon and have certain designated areas that they'll work on. And then the following day will be a 7-12 day, which is a full day event. And they'll have, over 8 different stations around town that they'll be working on. This will be our 4th year? 3rd, 4th year?
I think third.
Okay, third, and it's been very successful and growing each year. So hopefully that we can continue annually.
Look, I just want to also add, in that conversation with the Facebook, there was quite a bit of conversation about the sports and how the sports information was run onto Facebook. And we believe that changing from the current website we have to the smart site, yeah. That's like the parent company of Parent Square. And so we're being told that when changes are made in Parent Square, which is which is right now our most updated sports information throughout the day, that will also carry over to the website, which would alleviate Facebook having to run that. I think it's really important that we start to lower the number of information areas that information goes out, because what happens is you have 4 different people, they get it at 4 different times, and unfortunately we have parents that look at this one and that hasn't been changed yet, and then they look at this one and that has been changed. So I think we need to kind of cross some of that information.
That will be up by next. Curriculum, would you do an update on that?
Yes. And curriculum, yes, we had, and we talked about, we talked about electives and what they look like, going into our master schedule for next year. And we do have some, new additions to electives, which is always nice to see, and many of the same ones that have been successful. We talked about, expanding our social studies department and starting to transition with having, I'm gonna say 2.5 people rather than 3 people, and again, in that department. And let me see what else. The, continuing with our college level courses that we already have, and maybe not next year, but the year after, expanding in that area, particularly in science. I'm forgetting. I think that was.
We did a lot of looking at the master schedule.
Yeah, and looking ahead, like I said, even beyond next year, because next year's master is already done, but even thinking for the following year, and what we might do in that.
Finance.
We met tonight and we're starting to look at putting this packet together so that we can bring it to the board on negotiations.
Okay, any updates?
We just said spring break.
Right.
Yeah, questions, I want to mention, we had our results since our last meeting, and I remember we were fortunate enough to attend, and it was a great success. So I just, once again, want to thank, Rob J. and Buckley and Quinta Valley, Denise Conti, Sarah Pearson, Max Garrett, Heather Wojcicki, and everyone else who had a hand in making that production a success.
everyone went off well. New York State testing to grade 3 through 8 is up and going. We started out with a couple bumps, 2 days in a row, as a matter of fact. But we got through that. Those were statewide, so it's our district included. But it was a little rough going there. But then we pulled off 2 days, and then today went well. So we're just going to keep chugging along with that, and we'll get through it. And we'll roll right into the regions testing season.
Can I ask one question? State testing, we know day 1 and day 2 were delayed.
Correct.
How do you think it will affect pushing back to day 3, day 4, and then day 5 the applications? Do you think it'll invalidate the results at all, or do you think?
The validity of the results,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think it's definitely going to affect the validity of that was with 3 through 6 ELA. That was affected by those 2 days of didn't go well. We basically couldn't test as well. I mean, we tried, and just nothing was going our way. So we ended up with more opt-outs than we would like as a result of that. I think pretty much everywhere ended up with that, but we definitely did. So I feel like that we will affect the validity of those scores.
Erwin, just so you know, the superintendent, on day 2 when that happened, wrote a letter together to the state indicating our concerns of the validity and also indicating the issue with additional dropouts. We got a response. It wasn't much of a response, but we did get a response.
Okay.
But all 31 districts sent.
But anybody else in this room is afraid to stress on the kids and nobody breathing, but obviously with nobody hears the girls. But so I just wanted to ask what the big picture. So, okay.
It definitely upset a lot of different things.
I can get you a copy.
2 days.
I'll send a copy that the superintendent sent.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Any other updates?
Yes, of course.
All right.
I'm gonna stand up. I just want to thank everybody here, all the parents, and everybody who's given me the opportunity to represent you guys for 34 years. I know Rick's got more years than I do, but we were talking about the sports merger. Now this is coming from a non-board member now. You know how I am with kids. Kids are number one. But think about it a second. Minerva has 1 or 2 kids. That's it. But they're still a kid. So they deserve an opportunity to play, just like our kids. Because a kid's a kid. So what's got to happen there is the adults got to be adults and make things better. So some of the ideas I had was with the girls' varsity or the boys' varsity playing away game, at least these fields bare. So I think if you really schedule it right, you guys over here. It's just an idea. I don't know how big a pain in that could be, but it might be. I want to thank Mike. We've been together for 21 years, and it's been a good 21 years. There's been some challenges and everything. I want to thank Rachel. I think she's done a phenomenal job as a board president. It's not easy, believe me. When you got 7 of us, and 3 of us say yes this time, and 7 of us say no next time, it's kind of hard to keep it above water. I want to thank the whole board. I've been with you guys a long time. You're a great board, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. As far as the new board members coming in, hopefully you got some good ones. And my big thing about a new board member is come in for the kids. First come in for the kids, second come in for your boys. And the next thing is don't come in if you have a growth. If you're coming in for that, if you're coming in with an agenda to do something, because you're mad, that's the wrong thing to come in for. Do it for the kids. That's the big thing. The reason I'm here 34 years is the kids. It really is. And so I'm going to do my thank yous now. This will be my last chance. Thank you to the cafeteria staff. They've provided meals forever, and even with the new standards, kids are still eating meals. And it's kind of tough to meet standards for what you got to feed them, what you can't feed them. Might as well give them a box of oatmeal for breakfast and lunch, So I thank them. The cleaning staff, I've been in a lot of schools, I haven't seen any cleaning in this one. Beginning of the year, your floors look gorgeous, and coming in after night, I just walked down the hall, and I dropped something, I went down to pick it up, because the floors look so nice, that, you know, our bus drivers, you're dedicated guys. I mean, you guys drive in winter and everything else, and I'll tell you, my kids are well grown and everything, but I never worried about my kids when you guys are driving. And that's a big thing, let me tell you. Because I know Rick was way up north with us one night, and it snowed about 8 inches before we left. And he got our kids home safe, and that's just part of it. I know Jerry drove a long time before he got here, and you know, that means a lot to me. The teachers, we got a phenomenal teacher staff. We just got to keep it that way, and you know, look to the future. If we have to replace, we replace, and where we don't have to replace, they don't have to replace. Kathy, you're foolish. Thank you for coming in for principal and further on. It's appreciated very much. And then there's, who else I missed? The office personnel. You guys do a great job. You have a lot of headaches, I know. Figuring numbers, tell you when I was on finance, I can't add 2 plus 2, so I couldn't figure out what, you know, the millions got into. So that's appreciated. And I just want to thank everyone. Thank you for giving me the time. Thank you.
So Tom, I know that you did not want, you specifically said you did not want a gift, and we were respecting that, but we do have a little reception for you after the board meeting down in the, for the board members after.
Oh, thank you.
That's the conference.
Thank you.
All the things you're always good for.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Upcoming dates. April 24th is a job fair here. April 8th, May, or Sioux Fort is Cow Club. May 10th is prom. May 12th is our budget presentation at 5 to the community. And our next Board of Education meeting, and then May 20th is our budget vote.
Is there a concert that?
Yeah.
So, okay, so concert.
That did, but that's on May 20th. So that would be for the next.
I know, I was just
No, I
asking.
mean, but I'm letting you know.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, that's why it's not on.
okay, so it's after the next board meeting?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Tom, second by Tara. All in favor?
Now that you guys are adjourned, can I ask something? How often do you guys do this?
Hold on, hold on just a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Carries.
How often do you do it? Just once a month? All right, so the stuff that was said here tonight was not addressed. So does that mean it just goes by, nobody pays attention to it?
No.
Nobody addressed anything that was spoke about here tonight?
Rick, I'll answer that too. What it is, it's once a month for this meeting. What we need, like in finance, we've been 4 times this month, or 5 times this month, plus tonight. It's all these committees meet.
That's why I just asked, how often do you?
I know. So they're gonna, anywhere from 3 to 4 or 5 times a month.
And Erwin, you asked a question that sort of got leeway about why people are leaving. If you listen to the people that work here, why they're leaving is because there's so much bitterness in the people that work here. Maybe certain spots don't see it, but everybody you talk to, they can't come to administration and talk to them. They come to talk to them, they get shut down, and the pay, they find the pay better somewhere else. I'm just saying, anybody that's ever had employees, you've had employees, anybody else has had employees, you've got to take care of your employees. If your employees aren't happy, I mean, you can't treat them like kings, but you can make them know that today was Bus Driver Appreciation Day. Did we hear anything from anybody here? I appreciate it. That's not it. We don't hear nothing. Karen brought us over coffee and donuts, but we didn't get nothing from nobody here. I'm just saying, you gotta treat your health better. If you want your health to work for you, you gotta work for them too. And, I mean, people are, everywhere you talk, as soon as they can find something, they're out of here. Because they are so disappointed with the way things are being run. And I said, you need that answer. You didn't get that answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I couldn't